Let's bring in Nimesh as well.
So
Nimesh.
I want to ask both the gentlemen, something which is close to your heart. I'll start with Naren first. We've always seen you, heard you as a contra investor. And whenever I've heard you or I've met you, you always given one or two contra ideas. From this Diwali to next Diwali, if I want to ask you, if you want to stick your neck out, what could be your contra bet? Whether it's a sector bet or a asset allocation bet, what would be your top pick?
So actually, what we've done is that we've certainly seen banks as a bet. So if you look at some of the strategies that we run, we have much higher banks than we ever had, private banks than we ever had. So I would certainly see that, and certainly we have more cash in our funds than we had. So if you look at it, because we went through a debate, can we have cash? And we said cash can be, it involves risk. I don't think the cash in the portfolio is low risk, because finally you're comparing yourself against a benchmark. So I would say that we did have cash. It doesn't mean that we are negative. It means that we said that what could be contra at this point of time? Can you show me something which is contra? I couldn't find. So we said, let's have some more cash.
So bank and cash is your contra bet for next year?
At this point of
cash in the bank.
But cash. And so that's why, my colleague in the company said, let's look at where people are not willing to invest from outside. They said offices. So that was one area. Sure. So we keep thinking what can be, but it's been such a difficult task to identify contrarian assets in the financial space at this point of time.
That's a statement from Naren. Nilesh bhai, whenever we've met you and we've had you on the channel, you've left us with some headline. I'm just looking for one big headline from this Diwali to the next Diwali. What could be that one headline from Nilesh Shah?
पिछली दिवाली से इस दिवाली गधे और घोड़े दोनों दौड़े and गधे ran faster than horses. इस दिवाली से अगली दिवाली घोड़े दौड़ेंगे गधे नहीं दौड़ेंगे.
That's a big one. That's what I love about Nilesh Shah. You always have a nice punchline ready for us.
Put it quality over non-quality. Quality over non-quality is something I fully accept.
And I think it started visible, right? We saw momentum losing out, the value losing out. The PSU index is down 12%. Stocks are down 40-50%. The mid cap and small cap have started giving up. And what's working is, as you rightly pointed out, banks and especially banks per se, the numbers also not been that bad.
But
so
if you look
like that shift is happening.
Look at FMCG kind of sectors are also some things which we have started to look for from a contrarian angle, because some of those stocks have not delivered now for 4 years.
Absolutely.
At this point of time.
But talking about PSUs, select names you have been positive on, and the index itself has corrected a whole lot. Do you still think there are themes out there? Because the entire market capitalization went from 15 lakh to I think 80 lakh crore. And then from there we saw that correction.
But we lost enthusiasm in PSU as a theme some time back. Because as Nilesh pointed out, the most illiquid PSU started to go up substantially. So that's why, we've not been talking too much. In fact, if you look at our portfolios, I would say they were managed very well, and that's the reason we made money in them. But they're no longer as attractive as it was, and thanks to the good work done by many of the PSU managements, along with the government. So if you look at it, their dividend yields are better, their balance sheets are better, they've not done stupid things. So everything has been good. But due to that, as a contrarian, I would say I was forced to sell them.
In fact, we have gone to the government and said, please do divestment and raise money. This is the best time to get your value.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought up that point, because that's just the one thought that I wanted from both of you. This has also been the year where we've seen a massive amount of paper come into the market, right? IPO, secondary sales, promoters selling, blocks. Nimesh is our, blocking. He tells us ahead of everyone else in the market, right? And it is more often than not that Indian mutual funds have participated. Some can argue they're giving exit to a lot of these insiders or foreign investors. But what are your thoughts on the quality of paper that's come in, the fact that a $3.3 billion IPO gets subscribed? And will you all perhaps still show that kind of appetite for the paper that's lined up ahead? What will the next Samvat be like for just the supply of paper and your appetite for it?
So one, SEBI has done a great job in ensuring that there is enough disclosure. And it's not that all issues have gone through. One very colorful issue didn't go through, last year. So it's not that every issue and every Tom, Dick and Harry is getting sold. People are using their judgment, and undoubtedly thanks to SEBI, quality as well as disclosure both has improved significantly. It's not like 1991 where you will see not companies, sectors disappearing, aquaculture, bulk drugs, granite companies, NBFC, telecom companies, media companies, technology companies. Entire sector disappeared. That's not the case today.
Okay. Naren, you want to add to that?
I think no, we have to be much more careful in investing now. I think the seller knows a lot, and sometimes the seller is offering because they are able to see that it is fully valued. And so I think the easy phase where you're going to make money by investing in IPOs or QIP is over. So actually we think that we have to do much more work, and it's nothing to do with the regulator. The regulators tightened processes. So I think we have to do the right work. I think in between what happened, people could make money in anything too easily.
Yeah.
So then people just bid up the prices. Now actually we should see some failures. That will help the system actually. Then people,
some deferments.
then after that, people will come back to fair value. And then it will help us.
Okay, I think Pashupati has a question to
Yes,
make.
we have Pashupati as well. Sir, you've seen so many Diwalis. Your take on what to watch out for?
I'm the oldest person in the room. But I just want to circle back to one topic that Naren, you mentioned, the election in the US. How do you think the market will perform with Trump in the White House versus Kamala Harris in the White House going forward? And then maybe Nilesh wants to offer his thoughts.
I think not enough work has been done on it. But the belief is that Trump in the White House means that yields go up and US equities does well, and everywhere else in the world equities does badly. This is the belief at this point of time. And Trump is known as a negotiator. So this is the initial belief. Then how he negotiates things, like people believe that China has not announced the full stimulus primarily because they are waiting for the results of the US election. So I believe that there is going to be much more volatility, and what people haven't understood is in the last 4 to 8 years, slowly the US macro indicators are much weaker, like fiscal, current account, and therefore I think they have not even managed to bring down inflation to the level that it should have come down to. So I think we are headed for a volatile period because of US policy.
Nilesh, you want to offer any thoughts?
Ishan,
No expertise on US. I can barely understand Indian politics. Where will I have time to study
you want
US
to offer
politics?
Any thoughts on, you got elections here as well?
State elections.
An important state election, Nilesh.
So from a market point of view, it is the federal election which matters. And many a times we have seen that to win election, people say one thing, and when they form government, they do other thing. So the real challenge for me is that today there are few things which we are doing in coalition government. For example, infrastructure spending, digitization, skilling, housing, fiscal prudence we have maintained. This is all good. This will support growth. But we are still not taking tough decisions on land reform, labor reform, farm reform, judicial reform, GST rationalization. We went backwards on pension. Now, all these things over a period of time will have impact on our growth. I have to hope and pray that the things which I am doing on infrastructure, digitization is so good that it carries my momentum forward. But I'll be at some point of time worried that the reforms which we are not doing on land, labor,
That will start to
farm,
weigh.
those will have implications on our growth.
I think, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question on the category-wise flows. So what we've seen is in the last 12 months at least, most of the flows are going towards mid and small. Like I would say, like the large cap category has seen like 3 to 4% of the category flows. So it is kind of got a little bit out of fashion, like large caps in the last, especially 4 or 5 years. So what do you think would be the message to investors to look at the large cap space? Because as we know, like these are cyclicals. Like the caps move in cycles over the last like many years. We've seen that. So what would be your advice on this space? Thanks.
My view is that while that is true of mutual fund flows, I think EPFO flows, NPS flows, they're all coming in large cap. So I think that balance is there. I would worry a lot if EPFO and NPS kind of flows start going into mid caps and small caps. So actually there's a good balance that actually NPS and EPFO flows are actually 100% large cap and they're not small caps. So I believe that as long as they don't suddenly say, okay, if I had invested in small cap, I would get very big higher returns, then they'll be choosing the wrong time to do it. So that's why I would say that the balance is there. Then so many schemes, so many AMCs have closed down lump sum, and some of them accept only SIPs. So I think things are in between. The regulator did a lot of work on this issue. So I think things have been reasonably balanced now. And I think 6 months back, we used to be more worried about it. I think now the issue is it's been a much more balanced market in the last 6 months.
Okay, I think that's a nice way to wrap up this very special program as well. The Samvat Baithak, as we were calling it. Nilesh Bhai and Naren, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
To both of you, your families, and of course everyone. And thank you all for being here with us on this special program. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with us. Happy sort of Diwali, happy festive wishes to all of you, your families, and more programming on the other side of this break.